Hello everyone and welcome back. Hope things are well. Plenty of Newcastle United news to get into today. Unfortunately, we're going to start off with some sad news. So for you guys who enjoy watching the cats in the background of my videos, you would remember that there's actually a black and white one that used to come in the garden. So basically it was the neighbour's cat, but you would always come in our gardens. Even though it wasn't our cat, it kind of felt like it was. It would just come in all the time. It would always come and get some food or just come and lie in the garden and do God knows what. He was old, I think he was about 22 years old, and eventually the neighbours moved out. So when the cats moved out, it clearly hasn't settled in well because, I mean, 6 weeks later, it's unfortunately died. So I want to update you guys now. Obviously, it's quite sad. I've known it such a long time, and it was ridiculously old. But yeah, I just wanted to start off with that, just to let you all know what's happened, because I know some of you guys enjoy watching the cats, enjoy asking questions about them. So sad times, but yeah, it is what it is. But anyway though, on topic now. Welcome back guys, hope things are well. Newcastle United news is also to get into today, and I think in terms of the last 24 hours, so obviously Paul Mitchell's the big one, because he has now came into Newcastle as a new director of football to replace Dan Ashworth. Now this is actually someone that Manchester United previously wanted before Dan Ashworth, but they didn't want Paul Mitchell as a director of football. So alongside Dan Ashworth, Manchester United, they've got loads of individual different components that they want, so it's a staff member for each point. Basically, you didn't want Paul Mitchell to be a director, so at Newcastle, Paul would actually have more control, you have more power, and it's even been stated that unlike Dan Ashworth, he actually will have control over transfers. So alongside Eddie Howe, both of them will have a say in what transfers come in, so they've actually changed the hierarchy up here at Newcastle, which allows Paul to have more control and also a bigger say on what he actually does. So it's intriguing how he already has that, by the way. So it's almost like must be like a lack of trust in Dan Ashworth when he first came in. But then again, why would Newcastle appoint him if they weren't willing to kind of go all the way with him? So Paul, they are willing to give him more control in transfers, and it allows him to come in and just do that good job. Now, I don't know too much about his time at Monaco, but I do know a lot about his time at Southampton and Tottenham. So he was at Southampton in the early 2010s. So of course, this is when they would have had the likes of Adam Lallana, Ricky Lambert, Nathaniel Klein, probably Dusan Tadic. I would have thought around that time he definitely would have been responsible for bringing him in. He then went to Tottenham in the second half of the 2010s, where he would have brought the likes of Dele Alli in. That would have been when Harry Kane came in. I mean, top players, and he's been able to work with two Premier League teams and actually get a lot out of both of them. So before he came into Newcastle, he already has, I mean, we're talking good Premier League experience. He came in now, and I think we've got a lot out of it, because in terms of Dan Ashworth, we've made, according to social media, £10 million from Dan Ashworth. So Newcastle, of course, wanted 20. Manchester United at first put 2 million into him, which just weren't having at all. So eventually both teams have been able to get to a compromise on that halfway point where £10 million is the accepted fee. And it may sound a bit bad in Newcastle point of view. You're thinking, well, actually, you know, we asked for 20 million, we only accepted 10, and Newcastle are never ever going to get 20. I think we've just done that just to inflate the prices and to try and force a bit of money out of Man U. £10 million for a backroom staff member, that is a good sale. Can't lie about that at all. £10 million is good. We then got Paul Mitchell in, of course, for free, and that money can now go elsewhere and actually go into transfers because of the way the transfer market works. But I'm expecting a lot of Paul Mitchell. I think you do a great job. Whether he be better than Dan Ashworth, we will see, but this guy's got a lot of credentials, and I think his experience going into this job probably is better than Dan Ashworth. But Dan Ashworth, of course, has the England and international experience over Paul, so it depends how you look at it. But I think we've done the better out of the two teams. I think Man U have actually looked quite poor coming out of this. Obviously, they spent money in Dan Ashworth, they didn't need to. They had the chance to bring Paul Mitchell in, they said no. We want Paul as a different job here at Manchester United. So Paul said no to them, he just came to us. So we basically took one of the targets they wanted, and we've got £10 million for Dan Ashworth. So who's laughing there? I think we've done a great job of it. I'm just pleased we finally got that resolved over, because I'm just sick of talking about him. I can't wait to see the back end of him, and that's going to happen now. So he's done. Dan Ashworth is gone, Paul Mitchell is in, and I feel like for Newcastle that's a great appointment. But that is not all we came to talk about in this video. Of course, we have transfer news, and the right wing, I think that is the position that Newcastle are going to target next. There's a lot of noise going on about it on social media, and there's quite a few targets that are starting to pop out. I want to talk about Federico Chiesa first, a Juventus winger now. He has a lot of quality, a player that has that wow factor to him. I think when I mentioned Chiesa to you guys straight away, a lot of you kind of raise your eyebrows and go, I'm interested in this one. According to Fabrizio Romano, Federico Chiesa will be available for 25 million euros with add-ons. So in terms of UK prices, you're looking at around 22, 23 million pounds, and then you've got to do the add-ons on top of that. But I'm going to say straight away, that's good value. I think that is a good deal for anyone who is willing to take him up. And for Newcastle, we've got to be knocking on that door. He's someone straight away that I think would do a good job. There are quite a few targets that we're all going to talk about in terms of our positions that Newcastle looked into. But Chiesa was a player we were previously linked to last summer. Nothing in a Newcastle United point of view has came out at the minute, but listen, that could all change quickly. You guys know this by now. Not everything on social media is potentially the truth. I think Tenardi was a big one last summer. All the Barella stuff came out, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Tenardi was the sign that we made. So I wouldn't rule this one out. Obviously, this is a player that we have been interested in before. Value-wise, I think it's a steal for him at that price. So if we were able to get something like that for him, Chiesa probably will have high demand, I would have thought. Some teams surely with European football are going to come in for him, but if Newcastle can somehow convince this player, if we are interested in bringing him in again, definitely a player we should go in for. And I just want to update you guys straight away about some big news for Chiesa there. He's actually available for a set fee. Juventus want him out. There's the price tag there, and I think that price tag is more than reasonable. I think that's definitely a choice you should go in for. Now, it has been reported that Newcastle United, in terms of our players, are interested in Pedro Neto. They continue to be interested in Pedro Neto, and it's a player that they haven't seen to almost brush off. He's there, he's on the target list, and he's someone that Newcastle will keep their eye on throughout this window. And obviously with the Euros on, still expected to drag on a bit longer. I would have thought it probably will bring the winger in after the Euros if I had to bank on it. But it's starting to come towards its climax now, about a week or so, and then the Euros are over, so it's not too much longer. But in terms of Pedro Neto, that is a player Newcastle are still interested in. They still potentially want to look to bring him in. And when I look at the guy's stats, admittedly I don't watch Wolves on a weekly basis. I couldn't tell you his individual performances and how he plays with the rest of his teammates, but he doesn't convince me, Pedro Neto. I look at his stats, and I mean, he's got worse stats than Almiron. Murphy's got better stats than him, more or less, last season. And I look at him, and what I think we need as a right winger is a dedicated goal scorer, an out-and-out goal scorer, and someone who statistically over several seasons has provided numbers to do that. Pedro Neto has just never done that. I mean, he's scoring 1-2 goals a season. It's just, he's a player that I don't think it's that winger that we need. I just feel like we need someone that is going to score those goals. We need someone that we can rely on and just know in a big match he's going to turn up and deliver the goods. And Pedro Neto just comes off as a player that doesn't seem to be able to do that, in my opinion. Now, Mbembo from Brentford is a different story, because if you look at his stats, I mean, that's his overall Premier League stats of all these seasons at Brentford. And considering Brentford have always kind of been a bottom half Premier League team, look at those stats, by the way. I mean, he's got big numbers at Brentford, and he's someone straight away that has got the credentials, and that's the sort of player that I'm looking towards. Like, straight away, I can look at Mbembo and go, well, actually, look at this guy's stats over the last 96 games or whatever it may be. He's bagged big numbers. Those are goals, those are assists every 3-4 games statistically. So straight away, when I look at a player potentially bringing it to Newcastle, he's someone that catches my eyes because he's got good numbers and he's got the ability to score the goals in the areas where we need it, and that's the sort of player that I think we need. So, and Mbembo is a player that I'm interested in, and again, Newcastle, that's one of our transfer targets. Newcastle got several names down, and Mbembo and Pedro Neto are two of those names. So it just depends what you guys personally prefer. I know there's going to be a lot of debate in the comment section. You guys are going to have different opinions each other, which is completely fine. But for me, Chiesa and Mbembo, straight away, those are players that actually do the job and players that actually will improve the team, whereas Pedro Neto, it's a lot of money in someone that statistically does he improve the team, because his stats don't exactly prove it. So yes, admittedly, as I say again, I haven't watched these players week in, week out, so for someone like a Wolves fan or a Brentford fan, they can probably come on this video and tell you a lot more than I can. They probably will defend their individual players, but for me, I look at what I see, and when I actually watch Newcastle play these two teams, Pedro Neto is just not a player that wows me, basically. He's not a player that lights the world on fire. But we'll see how wrong or how correct I may be over the next week or so. But there you have it, guys. Not too much has came out, in all honesty, over the past 24 hours. Obviously, Paul Mitchell was the big one. A lot of news talking about him, and hopefully this video has clarified a few of the details more. Obviously, we've got official fees now, reported by journalists. We know that Manchester United wanted to bring this guy, and we do have... Hostels, but back on topic there. We do have some more official news in terms of fees and just terms of what Paul Mitchell is actually going to do at Newcastle on his road to football club. It is mainly more in this video about just setting up those transfer targets in right wing, where you guys over the next few days, once news starts to be pumped out and once more active transfer situations pop up, you guys are going to know straight away where things are going to lead. So hopefully this video will set you up a little bit. I know it probably hasn't gave you the answers that you wanted, but it takes time. These things do take time, and it's going to be one of those ones where I think once the Euros are over, I expect things to quickly change. But now that Paul Mitchell is in, director of football, it's his job to help bring the transfers in. No longer are Amanda and Murdoch going to be hands-on bringing transfer targets in. Paul Mitchell is brought in to do this exact job, to bring these targets in, and he'll do that. He will do that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.